What's the matter, you? Hey, what do you gotta say? Hey. Thought I was gonna be quiet. Wrong. It's your favorite toothless wonder. How is everybody? We're here to talk about Susan Smith today. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed. If you're not subscribed, please do. I am Amy Lee. I do this channel because I'm trying to improve my life. I want to watch what I do, the things I do, why I do them. And I get to also watch how I respond to things, even through comments, and watch my behavior, my thinking through these videos as well. I could see the difference in weight. I could see the difference in my eyes. I could see the difference. When I started this channel, this eye was like this all the time. I got punched a lot in this eye. So it does, I have damage. I have orbital damage. I have brain damage. So I'm bipolar. I'm a recovering alcoholic. If you're into any of that tomfoolery, let's work on it. Let's do it together. Okay? If you need help, stop drinking. I'm here for you. Absolutely. Also look up Sober Leon on YouTube. He really inspired me. I like him. If you'd like to support the channel, so I can buy markers to make a better sign, Cash App is capital, or money sign, capital A-M-Y, capital L-E-E, and PayPal, ZivaMonaLisa.com. I will put it in the description. Toothless wonder. It's a wonder, because I wonder why I'm toothless, like. Alright, so here we are. Here we are. This is the news for news. I wrote 2. I said 4. And I wrote 2. So let's go shit. Punchy. The news to use. Today on this channel, I'd like to, as you know, I'm very, very proud. Being from Youngstown, I'm a Youngstown, Ohio woman. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to have a little brag fest right now. This young lady, number one, Zion Hensley, 119 pounds. Woo! Number 1. So proud of her. I'm so proud. She looks she looks like she delivered the Girl Scout cookies too. So you better, you don't know what you're getting into. I also think this is hilarious. I want to show you. Okay, starts again. Army, Navy, Marines. He didn't stick that landing, you notice that. Air Force. all of our branches are great. And what's funny about my son's Air Force and my daughter was Army, was. But it just cracks me up because they compete with each other so much. If there's nothing else to compete with, they're going to compete with each other. Look at this. Hey, Groovers. Groove, my cat. They compete with each other so much, it's nuts. My son was in ROTC for the Air Force. So they do this weird stuff where they'll have a banquet at the end of the year, and they have a toilet sitting up there, and people say like a specific speech every year. It's the same stuff, but you could tailor it to your, like, you kind of put your own spin on it, the kids that say it, and then they'll say, so that's why I'm adding this. And they'll put something weird like pop and chocolate or milk or weird, gross, like non-food, like they're food because you have to drink it, but it's gross. And then somebody has to drink it, take the cup and put it over their head like, okay, it's empty. When I worked in bars, it's funny because if somebody from the Air Force was with somebody else from like the Navy, Marine, Army, Air Force soldiers are in a way, they feel very superior. And I'll tell you why, because I'll just say this. A Marine I knew said something like, well, if I wanted good food, I'd go over to the Air Force Base or something like that, because they get better stuff or whatever, but it's just too funny. Saying don't spray it. It's just... Alright, I just want... Okay, right. I'm going to discuss Susan Smith. So I'll just please send blessings and prayers to the family and those children. Those little angels. They touch the hearts of all around, and more precious children could not be found. That's on the gravestone. That's what the gravestone says. All right. My stomach hurts right now from this. Susan Smith is 50 years old right now. She's up for parole in 2024. Calm down. This is why I think she shouldn't get out. I'll let you know. October 94. Convicted in 95. She was having an affair, Melanie. Married Manny, her stepfather. Her own husband. She's upset that the one she's having an affair with at work doesn't want her anymore. He gave her a Dear John letter saying, I don't want an instant family. But he also gave her many other reasons. She went to a parking lot where she says the first black man showed up trying to take her kids or a car or something stupid. She meets a friend in another parking lot. She goes to his stop sign, stop light, it's always green. Goes to the lake, goes to the boat dock that is like this, puts her car in neutral. She has 2 children in car seats. 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alexander. It's a Mazda Protege, 1990. This is 94. It's basically a new car. She rolls it right into the lake. The children inside, in neutral, hops out, lets the children drown. Takes about a minute for that car to drown. When the children's shoe kicked off, it's a struggle. And one's hand was pressed against the window. When they found the children 9 days later, for 9 days, she went and told everybody that at the second place, within a half an hour, another black man came up, took her out of the car. She cries, my babies, I need my children in the back seat. And he says, no, there's no time. She said he made her lay on the ground as he drove away. She starts screaming and crying hysterically, runs to a neighboring house, and tells them a black man stole my children. The description of the black man looks like every single black man. This is South Carolina. It's not the deep South, but it is racist at that time more than you'll ever imagine. And there's nothing better than being bored and looking for a ninja who killed children. Let's all hop in the truck. Let's go find this man. He looks like every single black man in this description. It's ridiculous. He looks like 80% of black men. So she puts black men in danger like that. It's already intense enough at that time. 94 is not the 80s, but doggone it, I still remember it being very prevalent. I graduated school in 92. I did listen to hip-hop for a few years, but I also listened to Red Hot Chili Peppers, The Doors, all this different music. But when you play any hip-hop music or anything, you can only really play it in white areas anyway. All these white boys listen to rap their entire lives, but when it's in social situations, it's different. So, it doesn't matter if you watch the shows, you watch the movies, you listen to the music, you buy the music, spend the time. It was different in social situations depending on where you were. Around this time, I remember cowboy dancing and stuff really came back in because the big street buddy and all my friends in low places was real big. So there was a lot of country mojo going on. And a lot of times country mojo doesn't blend well with black culture. I'm not saying that you can't be black or country, obviously. But still, it's messed up. She's considered, what she did is called filicide. I think I remember this, isn't that something? It's killing one's sons and daughters, but it's from the Latin, now I lost it. Philia, Latin, man, it's son and daughter. Oh gosh, man. Ooh. I'm okay, but now I'm like part of Boogie Nation. Alright. I'm sorry. Gosh, I apologize. Trying not to swear. Trying to change and fit back into society, be normal again after being homeless and abducted and things. So I'm doing my best. Also, I put on some 80s clothes. This is actually from the 80s. If you're interested in buying any real 80s clothes, I have a lot of them. My aunt just gave me a bunch. This wouldn't fit me in the early 80s. This would fit me, I mean, I was like 7, the 80s. Since the old 89, I was in 9th grade, so. But this has been in the 90s, so I don't know what I'm talking about the 80s. So convinced the 80s. All right. All right. I want to tell you a little bit. I really believe is that we have to be more mindful of why these things start. Why do they start? What happened they're parents, you got a family, you have 2 children, that's parents. What happened in the 2 parents' lives? Where did things go sideways? I researched it. David had a terrible upbringing. He actually had to go live with his great-grandma. He didn't have a good time. He was dirt poor. Susan, her father killed himself when she was 6. They were married forever. I think 17 years. Her mom, Linda, and her dad. Mom, Linda, don't. Ooh, you know I'm going to get started too. I almost said don't get me started, but I'm started, so. Vroom, vroom. Woo. She had a shotgun wedding. She was pregnant with another. This is Linda, the mom, Susan's mom. She had a wedding. Technically, it's not a shotgun wedding. A shotgun wedding comes from because us crazy hillbillies gotta follow the Bible. And if you get somebody locked up, well, I'm gonna come with my shotgun. I'm gonna make you marry her, make it right. It's not a shotgun wedding for her because she actually married a different man. So she's pregnant with a different man's baby, gets married. Through the years, the man gets he's always paranoid. He starts drinking a lot. He's always thinking she's cheating, which she is. And they get divorced. They get into a fight. He breaks through a window. He slaps her in front of the cops. He goes home, ties one on, puts a rifle between his knees, shoots himself right in the gut to die. If you have watched crime shows like I have, CSI, Criminal Minds, even, Castle, whatever. I mean, I've watched them all. It takes a long time to die from a stomach wound. So a shotgun wound in the stomach will take a long time. It's going to be very painful. He didn't die right away, died later. Susan's brother hung himself before she was even in kindergarten. So this is the boy out of wedlock. Well, he got wedlocked. I guess it's just not the dad's real son, though. And he hung himself and failed. So this is all around 6 years old. When her mom remarried, she remarried an appliance salesman. When I researched this, they made a big deal that he was a Democrat and turned into a Republican. I'm like, so? I'm fluid like that. I don't care about the party because I'm not a follower. What I care about is what's being said. So when I saw that, I didn't care too much. I thought, what's the big deal? The big deal is because it's just so nuts, people. Judge Wilburn, a Republican judge in 1988, decided to not to suppress, seal all the papers because Susan said he's been molesting her, and he said, yeah, so. Her first suicide attempt was at 13. Her second one was at 18. Her mom took her to therapy for a little bit. They went like 4 or 5 times, quit. He never stopped. She was having sex with her stepfather till she went into prison. Why wouldn't she? Her mother approves. They said that she has, when she was younger, when she came out with all this and the suicide first attempt at 13, they called it an adjustment disorder. So I looked it up. It's excessive reactions, negative thoughts, strong emotions, and you struggle with sleep, work, or study. It resolves within 6 months. So it's very similar to PTSD. It's just not as long. They also have like a special one. It's called an F43.20, and that's within 3 months of stressors. A stressor is the stepfather. That's a stressor right there. So you keep those triggers around because they're feeding you and homing you and clothing you. So I guess you'd be triggered, huh? It's usually misdiagnosed or mistaken for a major depressive disorder, which is what I have, as you just noticed. That's actually not like situational. That's just long-term. Acute stress disorder. Actually, it might be what you did just noted. Bipolar and PTSD, which I have both of those. And look at my last video that we talked about, was it Micah? And we discussed bipolar in the 3 different ways. So I feel like my glasses are gross. Alright, so since I am punchy and all this jazz, I do get a little caught off. And I will get lost in my own notes because I get carried away in my stories. I'm passionate about it. It means a lot to me. I'll lose my place. I'd like to point out that I looked up the last record of David, her husband, which, by the way, he's really cute. He was cute. He was good looking. But he had girlfriends, too. He had a girlfriend named Tiffany. So they both, he was remarried and had 2 new children. New. Isn't that something? And I was like, that's rude. And then I'm like, well, what else would they say? I mean, he has 2 children, so just assume it's the boys. All right. Also, again, with the GHB, look on Amazon anytime you think you might come up in some dosed situations where you get dosed with GHB, the sip chip and the undercover color. Sometimes I make mistakes when I say these things. Last time I think I said chip sip. So it's sip chip and undercover color, which is a nail polish. So you can just kind of put your finger in your drink. It'll change a different color, and the sip chip will also do that. So she claimed a black man. By the way, the 1990 Mazda Protege was nice. That was a nice car. I don't usually buy foreign, but it's a very nice car. So she and her husband actually had a shotgun wedding. And here's how this lays out. They both go to the same high school. They're both working at Winn-Dixie. She's having an affair with a married man at Winn-Dixie and another boy co-worker at Winn-Dixie. Not David. Yeah. She gets pregnant, gets an abortion, commits suicide, 18, and even though David had a serious girl that he was with forever, I mean, you're in high school, and they're engaged, high school, but he dumps her like a hot potato because he starts talking with Susan. When the attorney, this is clever, when the attorney for her defense attorney, when began the defense speech, he said, "This is a case about despair and sadness." It is. So, we discussed all that. We discussed that. We discussed that. We discussed that. 9 days of pleas, safe return. Here's the thing. She said that really irked me. She did a lot of interviews in those 9 days. She did this one, and she's like, she did not even open her eyes. She did not open her eyes. She goes, I just have y'all together. I just have y'all just got stick together. I feel in my heart they're gonna be okay. Just stick together, boys. I can stick together, boy. I feel in my heart. Girl, you ain't got no heart. You feel it in your heart because they're in the freaking lake. Woo! 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 I'm gonna send my glasses of fleurs. She alluded that they're 30 feet out. They were 122 feet far out in the lake and 80 feet deep. Where is this? The ocean? No, it's a lake. A lake, 80 feet deep. Down, down, deep down, 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 down. Okay, I'll have to come back to her. Well, I might as well knock it out. I'll come back to it. We're going to come back to it. So she's married at 19. You know why? Because she's 2 months pregnant. And that is a shotgun wedding. That right there is a shotgun wedding. David's 20, so he's actually older than her. Maybe he was out of high school when he got engaged. That would make more sense. David seems pretty logical to me, actually, for the most part, except for he's a bit of a hoe. So not only does she cheat, but he cheats too. They both have boyfriends, girlfriends. They get married, get divorced. Get married, get divorced. They get together, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I guess a lot of problems was her mom, Linda, is a real piece of work. You know what that means. Remember when I told you about the mafia? What mafia? The mafia says things in very different ways, and you can't say what you need to say. So a guy comes to your house, you're in charge, you say, here, I got a piece of work for you to do, meaning, moida. But you can't say that it's a work detail. Linda's a piece of work. She put Susan under the impression that money's more important in life. You gotta look good, baby. Gotta look good. So she and David would fight about money. He wanted to fix up his great-grandma's house. He had to go live in and stuff. It wasn't good enough for her. She called something like a tin roof shack for hillbillies or some white trash tin shack, something along those lines. You know, there is a lot of colorism in the black community, I've noticed, in the United States, but there's also white people do this too. So, I mean, it's not like it doesn't happen. So, here's what I think you got to kick at. Voted 1989, Susan, friendliest female. Susan Smith is the friendliest female at the Union High School in 1989. She is cheerful and down to earth, people. How couldn't she be? When she did all this crap, this is what is also quite vexing. She got, what's his name? Doggone it, Adam Walsh involved. Adam Walsh had his child taken from him and his wife at a mall, and they didn't find him for like 10 or 11 years. In the meantime, he's looking, he becomes a real person. I think it was America's Most Wanted. He did all that on his own 1984 Missing Child Act. He did that because of his child, just like the Amber Alerts, okay? That's on a real child named Amber. Now, something that people don't realize is there's criteria for an Amber Alert. So not every missing child fits the criteria for an Amber Alert. Keep that in mind, okay? With life in general. So you'll say, why the heck didn't I do an Amber Alert? Look in my community page or post or whatever they call it. I don't know. I don't know how to work the computer. I barely know how to work the phone. When I do, I don't do it right. And if I do, I get it to do something. I forget how I did it to get. I'll put up missing pic. If you have anybody missing in your area, let's put it on this page, okay? Let's get these kids found. So not only did she involve local law enforcement, now she's got Adam Walsh talking about it. She's got news. She's got EMTs, police, firemen. She has helicopters going over the lake with heat-seeking, like, what are they called? I want to say missile. Every time I hear heat-seeking, I want missile. No, you know what I'm talking, detectors. The guy that had to pull the children, the divers, have PTSD. This stuff has fallout. We just see one thing because people tell you what to see. You cannot always believe what you see because everything is proctored, changed, edited to look a certain way. That Nancy Grace thing I showed you, watch that Nancy Grace video if you didn't. The way she did things, she wore the shirt, she kept saying illegal alien, she kept saying 7 times the limit. It's not the case. You know, I mean, they are, but they're not. So please, you know, like people do. They'll make it look the way they want to look. So always look into something. If somebody says a certain name to you, certain number, certain thing, look it up. I promise you there's more than one definition. There's always more than one thing, one way to do something. All right. By the way, her mom remarried 2 weeks. 2 weeks after the divorce. So that means that within that 2 weeks, father kills himself. She remarries. Child hangs himself. Eventually, that stepfather, the appliance salesman, a really lame name. I didn't even write it down. I think it was Beverly. He's a man. Obviously, Beverly was too feminine for him. He thought he'd just swing that dick around, I guess. Co-workers said she wished she had no children. The man that she cheated, that we know of, I mean, she already cheated with different people, though. She had another boyfriend, not even this guy. This guy's name is Tom Finlay. He's a graphic designer. He has a show coming up in 2025. His name's Tom. I would have sworn, like, the way I hear him, because of the damage I've had on my body and the beatings and whatnot and fights and the bipolar voices and all this crap, I heard John. I heard John every single time I heard John, but it's Tom with the T. T. By the way, if you want to sign language slave, it says toilet. T is your identifier and toilet. So that's what toilet means. So he, you know, when he sent that letter, he gave it to her. They were all working together. He broke up to her. They all went out to lunch and stuff, and then she pulled this crap. They said that she was an alcoholic. Her father was an alcoholic. She drank a lot. Here's the thing. Through the years in the jail, she does a lot of drugs. And the way she does these drugs, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't go to lose my dog on the spot. Wow, this is something too. You're not, you know what? Let's pause on it, because I'm going to start reading the cellmate confession stuff. It's a whole different area. So it takes 9 days. She finally admits the children are there. The children are extremely blooded. It's crazy. How just think about the straps, okay? Someone had to unstrap them. Oh, man, it makes me mad. Woo! I'm going to be talking about Diane Dowds and Mr. Meui. I don't know how to pronounce that, but wow, wait till you see that one. You're not going to believe that one. So, she's cashier, bookmaker at Winn-Dixie, older married man, abortion, another co-worker, suicide. David also worked at Winn-Dixie, long time engaged. We discussed it. Father shot in belly after divorce, car broken window slap, missing children act, Susan. Tom Finley's father owned the new business that she went to work at, Convoy. I want to say Convoy because I'm like, Convoy. We had a big old convoy riding through the night. We had a big old convoy. Ain't she a beautiful sight? So he's an artist. He comes on and does their graphic art and all that stuff. He still does it in installations. He's on Facebook or something. I looked him up. Protege, 15 years old. Co-worker of sheriffs. Heat sensors, diverse. School. I'd also like to say a couple places I got this from right now. There's a book on Amazon called My Daughter, Susan Smith. I didn't do that, but I did do the Amazon Cellmate Secrets. There's a news channel, WSPA, on YouTube, Interview Room, Crime Library. I had a speech impediment when I was a kid, and it's coming out now. Crime Library, Emma Kenny. She's great, by the way. Kenny. She's like an Aussie, I think. She's just like, so, I had to do it. I put them in the leg, love. Oh, but you thought it was imminent. Like, I had to do it. Yes, I said I had to do it. So she does that. Dr. Oz, and I think that's it. Alright. Voted friendliest. It's weird that they say female, because it's kind of a term for a female inmate, you know, like female. Alright, so let's fast forward. She gets blah blah. She's in prison, blah. She's up for parole now, this November, so. In prison, everything's currency. Everything's currency. There's a lot of child killers in prison, too. So sex is definitely a currency. Oh, yeah, she brought Jesse Jackson into her mess. Talking about social justice because she brought black men into it. So Jesse Jackson was also in the mix. How's that? All right. So one of the guards, she had relations with 2 guards. The 50-year-old was 4 times the CO. Supposedly, she had relations with the older CO. 4 times. The 50-year-old man, he got 5 years probation. This guy, Alfred Rowe Jr., he wasn't so lucky. I think he got 3 months in jail, but it gets better. So he was captain of security. He thought that he would be able to have some kind of respect with these women, but there was no respect because they would drop their towels and do inappropriate sexual things. He's in his 30s. I saw him on Dr. Oz. I wanted to look up other shows that he's been on, but I knew he's been on. So he's been on Dr. Oz, and now he's on this Amazon Cellmate Secrets. That's just 2. I think he's been on more. I didn't look. She wanted moved, okay? She wanted moved. He said she would manipulate him by letting him know cellmate secrets. She ratted out drug activity in the cells. You know how she ratted out drug activity in the cells? Because she was the drug activity in the cells, okay? So she gets people to give them their medication, and she told on them. She hands this guy she says she's got to go to the bathroom. This I don't quite understand. There's usually a toilet in your cell. So she hands him a note, says, I like you. So there it starts. She wanted moved. She wanted to move down to that prison. She was probably bored. I don't know why. It seems like she was 25. So she was married 2 years. She was 19 when she got married. So she's 25, right? So she's been there long enough in her eyes. She wants moved. Once you start writing, you better get out. You better go. I think I like you. He said that she was an ego boost. Wow, ego. He said, I'm just a country redneck farm boy, and I'm getting all this attention from the ladies. She follows him in one day after doing cleanup, and she says, I'd like to give you a BJ. Will you let me? And he did. So I mentioned he was married. I had children. Yeah, he is. He's married with children. He is. She knows that. She knows. They talk. His wife, Elizabeth, first you see her go, oh, I want to choke her. This has been 20 years, you know. She's like, I want to choke her. And then she was like, I didn't know if I want to choke him first or her first. I didn't know who I was going to choke first. She stayed with him. God bless her. He says there's sex constantly between the inmates and the COs. It's constant. So this is a normal activity in prison. I've never been in prison. I've been in jail. So it's considered illegal sex. So he was arrested, actually, because he went on vacation and had an ominous feeling, and he was getting phone calls from people. This is the year 2000. He gets fired October 6, 2000. She was 25. Sorry, you know I can't do math. All right. He has to register as a sex offender because he had illegal sex. So he's on the sex offenders list for life. That's one. You get up to 10 years for doing that if you get caught. You get up to 10 years. He got 3 months in jail, sex offender, in probation. She gets drug charges in 2015, and I'm going to let you know about this. I don't want to really tell this inmate's last name because I just don't feel a need to. This inmate was in prison with her. I think she was her actual, no, she just knew her. 2009 to 2012, 4 years. She was in prison with her. They played cards together. They played spades and they were partners. That's actually pretty intimate if you don't know it. You gotta really read each other's minds with spades. I love spades. I like pinochle. I love spades. My dad did pinochle till dawn, but I never learned it. Nobody took the time to show me. You know, I asked a million women. Oh, she said when she got in there, she didn't think that this one, Susan Smith, was so bad because she knew people in there who fed their own baby to the husband. The husband's child. They fed the baby to the husband. So she's like, don't worry about her. I like this girl. One thing about prison and jail, they're called breaks or break-offs. You make these prison recipes and everybody will come up with really ingenious stuff. I mean, you can make a pizza, you can make a birthday cake, you can make all kinds of neat stuff. There's lots of neat prison recipes. I didn't look them up on the web, but I'm sure people get out and they're like, how about this? It's really clever, okay? It's very, very clever. So she said it kind of like got her because she made her a birthday cake, which she says is kind of like a pie, but really it was her birthday and that kind of got her a little bit. And she said she can't be mean because she's so nice. They showed her the footage after she was out of prison, what Susan did. She's absolutely disgusted. Now, this one I'll say the name because I'm proud of her. Her name's Christine Smith. She was a cellmate. She left in 2019. She's sober. 1 year and 10 months at the time of this program. Good job, honey. Good job. Christine's a life criminal. And she's changed. She's changed, okay? She had a really bad upbringing. When I saw this and I saw, the way her life was as a child, and that she's a cellmate now, during the same, she's on the top bunk, that they would really get along because they had such similar terrible experiences. They were both all the same stuff, pretty much. Pretty much. I don't know about all the suicides, but this girl tried to kill herself plenty, trust me. So, but it wasn't like that. So, Christine has actually spent 18 years, 7 months, and 16 days altogether in prison. She's my age. She said she was so malnourished from all the drugs she was doing. She's done forgeries, drugs, burglaries. She's had physical and sexual assaults. She got busted on acid naked in a mortuary fountain. It's kind of funny. When you're so miserable and nobody likes you, you do these drugs, and acid is a complete mind-altering drug. There's some drugs that'll open your mind, ayahuasca, things like that. Acid has strychnine in it, and I did acid for a whole summer when I was 19, and still to this day, when I crack my back, I did it every Monday, because I worked at an Italian place, we got Mondays off. Every day to this day, when I crack my back, sometimes I'll get all this weird stuff, and I'll feel that weird taste in my mouth of the rat poison that I took myself and paid for it. So it alters your mind, you're miserable, nobody likes you. Yeah, you go in the mortuary fountain, why not? So she tried to kill herself many, many times. Mom told her to run up the biggest, baddest. Her mom's got to be a real piece of work, too. Her mom's like, girl, once you get in that prison, girl, you go up to the biggest, baddest bitch, and you just smack the shit out of her. So, yeah. When she got in there, she knew about it because they grew up in the same area. They were like a hop, skip, and a jump from each other in the Highlands. So, I live in Appalachia, so I know a little bit about that. She said she walked in there, tore that shit up. I gotta stop swearing. Tore her stuff up. Tore all her stuff up until she stopped getting mad. She said she was mad first couple times. Then when she stopped getting mad, she didn't think it was funny anymore. Because she's a bully too. So she knows a bully when she's a bully. So you gotta bully the bully. So she said Susan was delusional on the birthdays of her kids and her mother. She would cut her wrist. She said she cut her wrist so many times, it looked like burns. Susan Smith was the queen of the commissary. She's got a lot of people sending her money. Commissary, once again. Commissary is currency. The Chris Watts stuff, he got caught with his guy that they're talking through, basically a plug in the wall, is because their commissary there, they put the names on them. So if you get caught, then they know. So you can't buy everybody's stuff, but somehow he still does. She said that people have sex there everywhere. And they have like sex with vegetables and all this stuff. The food's gross. It's mystery meat. Nobody wants to eat there. So when somebody gets commissary, it's a big deal. All right. Heads up, guys. I'm going to talk about sex real quick. This kind of did crack me up because, once again, when people are in prison, they come up with ingenious things. This girl had her own side hustle. Christine Smith. They both have Smith names. She said she sold dildos in prison. A bra with straps, put a small hole in it. A long sock, an ink pen, a glove, a rubber band, and a rubber glove. Okay, she said she would see what size they prefer. So she was like customer service. She said there were 29 baby killers in the pod. She also, so the pod is where I was in a range or pod, as they say. So you'll walk in, you'll see like a level up here, all of individual cells. And then down here, individual cells. There are bunks in the cells, or they could be individual. I myself never went in one. I was always the overflow, so I never got my own stuff all the different times I've been in different jails. She had 29 just in that pod. That's a big percentage of people in that pod. That's a lot. She had 29, maybe like 70 people, 29 are baby killers. She, the guard said she had a boss-type status. Here's the thing that really bothers me with this also. She had photos of the boys in her room. I don't think that people who murder somebody should have the victim's face in their room. Chris Watts does it and Susan Smith does it. That shouldn't be allowed. Why would they do that? I know that there's children, so that's the point. That's what makes it more vexing, is that they killed their children. So why are they allowed to put those pictures on the wall? I don't want to hear about it, man. Don't. You should not. How was, Manson never killed anybody, but was he allowed to put the victims or the people he sent out to murder people? Tex Watson was the only person that murdered anybody. All right, so I'll do a thing on that one day. You'll like it. Yeah, David was talking about forgiveness on the TV when all that stopped. They actually call Susan a dorm mom, so because she's been there so long, because she's been there so long, and everybody's in and out, in and out, in and out. She's the mom of the range, the pod, all that crap. So people would cheek pills, which means that when you go to take your medication, they give it to you in a cup. They want you to take it. They always have gloves on, all the crap. They want you to take it, and I never got the medication I needed because you need what's called a kite, and that means a note, meaning that you are allowed to do that. Prisoners also send kites to each other, and that's hence the cleverness of it all. It's a kite. It flies through the air, blah, blah, blah. It's sending information, blah, blah, blah. My kites never showed up in time to say, yeah, she needs this medication, whether I was there 3 days or 5 days, so I always went into withdrawal on all of my bipolar medications every single time I was in jail. So people will take that, stick it on here, on your cheek, and you gotta go like that and show you swallowed it. So they're cheeking the pills. She's paying them through ways of commissary, maybe having money put on their books even. And she goes and rats out the people that are doing this for her. So she has Christine Smith, the person who came in busting the bees and all that. She ends up running Christine. She's got Christine standing in front of the door watching out while she has sex with not just COs, women. So the fact that they said they started an investigation because she came up with an STD is kind of silly. She's in prison with women. All women can have an STD, so what's the difference? I don't know why they'd look into her, and the reason why is because she was ratting on him. He didn't do what she said fast enough, so she started telling everybody got him out. She said that so Christine says that they will snort booty. She saw this. She saw with her own eyes. She saw Susan Smith do drugs in these fashions. Snort, booty bump, swallow, all drugs, all ways. She would also have women who get strip searched, and Christine had to get strip searched because of Susan, because of her sticking up for Susan. She said one time she pretended to have a seizure, and she misplaced a step, and she actually hurt herself. And Susan gave her $300. Are you kidding me? Don't complain to me about faking a seizure. And whoops, I missed it. I got hurt. All she wanted to give me was $300. Why are you faking a seizure? What's wrong with you? So she said because she'd have to squat, cough, naked, bend over, ears, feet, you name it, that you got to put it up in your hootie hole all the way up. So if anybody's doing that for Susan, they're also doing that. That's a lot. She said that Susan's lover in prison, that she would cheat on and go back and forth and actually saw Susan in this. She's a black woman, and she looks just like the picture of the man in the first parking lot, ironically, and that they would take trash bags and lay them in a dumpster and bang on top of that, because they're trash. They're trash. Yes, they are. Had sex in a dumpster. She was on writeaprisoner.com. So that's another way she gets money. She gets money. She had so many responses, they had to take her off the site. You think that Chris Watts gets things? This woman's got money sent to her. A lot of it. So when Susan got in an argument with her girlfriend that looks like the black man, I'm not going to swear. I killed my effing kids. You think I give a F about yours? I said something, no? All right. Yeah, these things kill me. It's really, really hard. It's really, really hard. Separated many times after 3rd anniversary, 1-year anniversary. Oh, she went back with the Winn-Dixie guy. I forgot to mention it. So in between these separations, she goes back with the non-married Winn-Dixie guy. David has a girlfriend too. The one on Emma, she said that Susan was having sex with 4 men. Nancy Gracy kicks it up and says 6 because she's an asshole. Yeah, I gotta stop swearing. I read a couple things on different. This wasn't I didn't see this in an interview or anything. I read this through a few Google searches, and I saw a letter. I think it was if you look up IMDb, this is funny. If you look up the IMDb, which means movies, pictures, things like that, on Susan Smith, 2 movies come up. She's not even in them, okay? And one of them was like 1976 or something. It was like way before this even happened. So that is, again, misleading. She told Tom Finley that she was having sex with his dad. So that's where the 4th man comes in. So we got the stepdad, Tom's dad, and David, her husband. But that one was kind of like, a real Kessinger thing, like, I'm gonna bone your dad. Yeah, okay. It's coming up. It's coming up. November 4th. Keep your eye out. Let's not make any more Susan Smiths. Chad Doberman. Just watch out. These things happen for a reason. I just saw a 16-year-old boy the other day on death row, and his attorney starts out saying, you know, the system has failed this child. And that's true. Please, please, all children are our children.